ROCKSTARS has tweeted us. We've been noticed. Don't hit the mic. This is the most important new ROCKSTARS video we're supposed to be doing.
Senpai noticed.
You messed up the intro, John. You look like a fool. Yeah, new ROCKSTARS tweeted us saying that we should watch this video, and I've been waiting forever to get noticed by these guys. Best breakdown channel in the biz, and then other YouTube comments, and even a couple of friends hit me up being like, dude, you gotta watch a new ROCKSTARS video. Yeah, here we go. I don't even care what the topic is. Something about Wolverine and Henry Cavill.
Welcome back to New ROCKSTARS. I'm Eric Voss, and Wolverine's MCU arrival is upon us, with unconfirmed reports circulating that Henry Cavill is in talks for the role, all based on the rock-hard evidence that it takes multiple franchises to contain Cavill's guns. I'm going to break down everything you actually need to know about this Henry Cavill Wolverine news, and how whoever Kevin Feige surgically enhances with adamantium claws, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has actually set itself up with several ways for Logan and his mutant buddies to show up. Spoiler warning in case my theories end up spoiling this Henry Cavill Wolverine movie that will definitely happen. After this Cavill Wolverine chatter broke the internet, we've been able to trace this all back to a gossip site with a news article claiming sources about Henry Cavill as Wolverine in Captain Marvel 2. Now, there have been some rumors that Marvel has been meeting with Cavill generally, as they do with pretty much everyone in Hollywood, including Keanu, but Cavill's a bit busy shooting the next season of The Witcher on Netflix, and Keanu's a bit busy shooting everything. So, based on that alone, like the beds want his mutant kids sleeping, this Cavill Wolverine rumor is debunked. Not sorry. There has also been some talk that Captain Marvel 2 will feature a mutant, but a different one, Rogue, based on the very interesting
that'd be awesome.
between Rogue and Carol in the comics.
That'd be awesome.
That's true. Captain Marvel 2 is set to release sometime in 2022 or beyond, and I think it's possible that the MCU reveals its mutants and possibly its Wolverine before that in one of the movies and streaming series we have coming up. I see 4 theories. Wolverine Theory 1. Mutants already exist in the MCU, we just haven't been looking hard enough, or our heads
that's what I've been saying.
From the dawn of the MCU, Kevin Feige considered mutants as much part of his universe as the Hulk and Spider-Man.
Nick Fury footage.
Accidents, radioactive bug bites, and assorted mutants weren't enough.
Assorted mutants? Fury's making it sound like life in the MCU is like a box of chocolates, and you never know if you're gonna get a Wolverine. Last time he trusted a caramel, he lost an eye. Another alternate version of a Phase 1 scene included this mention by Tony Stark of a mysterious SHIELD program.
I need some stuff out of storage. It can be everything from projects Pegasus, Exodus, and Goliath.
Later MCU films have revealed what Project Pegasus and Project Goliath were, but Exodus has remained a mystery. I have speculated it could be a secret government Weapon X program, an exodus of mutants from society to a secure location. Now, I know you're saying, hey, if the X-Men were in the MCU the whole time, where have they been? Why didn't they help against Ultron or Thanos? And yes, I can read your
I don't think
now
the
that I know
X-Men
other channels are breaking down my breakdowns. And now I am breaking down their breakdowns.
We were featured in this!
Considering that there have been other fronts to these past MCU conflicts that the cameras have pointed at. Much like how Endgame revealed the Ancient One to be fighting Loki's Chitauri alongside everyone else.
I'm not even listening.
Easter
eggs, need to pay attention.
Just on an unseen corner of Sokovia, or behind a pile of Avengers HQ rubble that Spider-Man didn't swim over. I theorized that mutants could have been quietly preventing disasters from getting worse over the generations. Like maybe the Eternals film will reveal that the deviants of ancient times led to legendary descendants with a mutant X gene. Look, the truth is you never know what is lurking beyond what's visible to the naked eye. Sometimes it's a character's nefarious agenda. Sometimes they're just grouchy because parts of them are tugging other parts because they haven't been taking care of those parts.
Yes.
Like their fur. Well, thanks to Manscaped for sponsoring this episode.
We gotta get a Manscaped sponsorship. Look at us.
We should.
We
need.
Look at us. We just need the product.
Manscaped. Getting to make sophomore jokes for Manscaped. Around these parts, there's nothing better for our parts. You might even say our love for the company grows when we get excited. But let's quit beating around the carefully trimmed bush. Just when you thought they have it all figured out, Manscaped takes things up a notch with the brand new Lawnmower 3.0 waterproof body trimmer. See it? Wow. Swamp. That way you can see each pube as you cut it. If you didn't name those suckers, because they're now snipped. Snips, no snags. The new and improved Perfect Package 3.0 kit includes this new Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer, plus a ton of great add-ons to make for the perfect grooming experience for the modern man.
I was like shocked when I saw her face.
I don't for a second. I didn't realize my YouTube channel.
Yeah, my heart froze. And I was like,
Perfect Package 3.0. You get the biggest bang for the buck.
This is a pure geek out moment.
I was
We're all
also
here
like,
for that.
is he gonna insult us? I'm so nervous.
He's gonna cease and desist us in this video.
Because if you're a new Rockstars viewer, you're gonna get not one, but 2 free gifts. The Shed Travel Bag and the Manscaped Boxer Briefs. You're not getting these, you're gonna get your own. If you want mine, stop telling me. Get 20% off plus free shipping from your Perfect Package 3.0 purchase when you use the promo code NEWROCK at manscaped.com. That's code NEWROCK for 20% off
Yes,
at
sir.
manscaped.com. Also, check out our Instagram feed for a special giveaway promotion.
Yes,
And
sir.
if you insist some canonical mention of other mutants to buy
Sure,
the explanation,
transition
try Wolverine Theory 2. Mutants did not exist previously in the MCU, but recent MCU events have created them. And Endgame Rocket described the
I
snap
need
in an
to
interesting
remember to
way.
pitch what my
Thanos
idea
snapped
was
his
to
fingers,
introduce
Earth
mutants.
became
after
ground
this.
zero for a power
'Cause it
surge
involves
of ridiculously cosmic
2 of these
proportions.
theories
No one's
combined.
ever seen anything like it.
So with 4 snaps, that's a lot of gamma radiation spread across the universe. There's gotta be some side effects. Like, say, a child born with tissue regenerative enough to withstand skeletal adamantium implants. Additionally, Ant-Man and the Wasp established that enhanced abilities like phase shifting and healing powers are side effects of quantum particles.
Adaptation is part of it, but some of it is evolution.
If the quantum realm exists on a subatomic level throughout everything, perhaps on a more macro level, these particles exist in higher quantities in certain life forms, which in them result in mutant abilities that are now manifesting in individuals everywhere. Now, that might require the MCU to retcon and change many of the classic X-Men characters' origins. Like, Logan actually dates back to the mid-19th century, Magneto to World War II, Apocalypse to ancient times,
Yeah.
Cable to who the hell knows. Feige has hinted he wants to do something different with the MCU mutants, but if he wants to try to stay true to those origins, he could try Wolverine Theory 3. Mutants already exist roughly as we know their comic
The
backstories,
timelines
but in
cross.
a different timeline. The way Endgame left the MCU, the most direct way to introduce mutants into this universe is to just say the whole time they've been in a different verse. Using time travel, Steve Rogers lived a second life in a timeline we
makes
never got to
sense.
see. And now Loki appears to be dealing with the consequences of that Endgame time meddling, with the Time Variance Authority, Marvel's Time Cops, coming into play. One of those hypothetical timelines overseen by the TVA could be one in which, among the Avengers we've known, are additional names like Logan, Scott Summers, Charles Xavier. And that timeline could be the one Loki tumbles into and the one we stay in. Like we leave the Earth 19999 behind forever and stay in Earth 200,000 or Earth 616, whatever you want to call it. But that would be assuming that the muddy time travel logic of Endgame will be the rules by which the whole Marvel universe operates in the future. Mutant life can find a better way. For example, Wolverine Theory 4. Mutants exist in a different reality of the multiverse. We know from upcoming titles like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and WandaVision that Marvel is going to rewrite the rules of reality. Endgame shattered reality with time travel, or maybe the fabric of reality will be warped by Scarlet Witch. We've theorized that WandaVision could be a loose adaptation of the House of the M event, which features Wanda resetting reality with and without mutants. The teaser for the series hinted the existence of her mutant children, Wiccan and Speed, who do play a big role in House of M, as does Wolverine. Wolverine is the one mutant who remembers the world as it was before Wanda flipped reality, so that mutants are now the dominant social class, and it is on Logan to reawaken each Marvel hero so that they can flip things back. If this WandaVision series features Wanda chaotically flipping reality through genres as if flipping through TV channels,
wow.
perhaps the antagonist who arrives to stop her.
all
is a
4 of
mutant
these
from
theories
one
could
of
pan
these
out
actions
pretty
while
well.
she's flying through. The one mutant with regenerative nerve cells whose mind remains intact across the spectrum of existence, and his name is Deadpool. Wolverine.
Nah.
They have Deadpool
For more
now,
unfiltered
right?
Thoughts
So
on
they
this
can
Wolverine
still include
news,
him
join
somehow.
our official Discord server by becoming a patron
Do
of
it!
New Rockstars at patreon.com/newrockstars. Who do you think should play Wolverine in the MCU? Comment down
Henry
below.
Cavill.
Follow me on Instagram, follow New Rockstars, and subscribe
Yeah,
to
that's
New
right.
Rockstars here on YouTube for breakdowns.
Tall Henry Cavill.
Thanks for watching.
Wow.
God,
Okay.
can't believe Eric Voss broke down our reaction.
Yeah, I know, right? These are all my thoughts right here. That threw me for a loop.
How do you feel?
Anytime we've been featured in anyone's videos of someone I admire, it's usually like a split second, like a brief image. But I was like, oh, we were kind of like, he didn't say real rejects, but we're clearly being called out there. And I was like, oh man,
damn.
that really surprised me. From what some people said, I was like, okay, maybe we got like a flash of an image, like some joke. And I was like, he's really talking
in
about
the
it.
breakdown. Yeah.
That
Oh yeah, no.
Oh man, I'm
Yeah, your
okay.
mind is
I
going.
need to.
Look what you did, new Rockstars. You broke him. But no, my mind, totally gapped for a second, and it took me a moment to put it together, and then I flipped. Yeah, 'cause when it showed the YouTube page proper, I was just like, oh, it's just a YouTube page, and then I was like, oh no, it's art. So that's an honor.
Thank you,
Eric Voss and
Thank
company.
you. Now let's talk about the new
theories.
Rockstars video. You know, for the longest time, I feel like a lot of us fans have always had our theories and our ideas of, you know, how we would bring like X-Men mutants into the MCU, or what you think they might be doing and stuff like that. Before Endgame ever came out, I would have talks with my buddies, and like my basic idea that I thought would be a really neat way to bring them in is before Endgame, so some of this would have to change, kind of, because I always imagine Captain America having this line of dialogue. You know how Captain America Civil War, some people call that like an Avengers 2.0 kind of film? I felt like you should do some kind of movie like that, where it's not an Avengers movie, but it kind of is. It's like not titled that. Basically, they're seeing the rise of that. There's been some mutants who have existed, maybe a Charles Xavier, maybe a Magneto, but the X-Men aren't necessarily formed yet. Yeah. So what you're seeing in this movie is them learning about the existence of mutants. I always imagine this sort of a dialogue where you got like Bruce Banner, Iron Man, Captain America all talking about these mutants. Maybe Spider-Man's there too, and they're like, you were bitten by a radioactive spider, you were hit by gamma rays, you were a science lab experiment. None of you were born with these abilities. These people are. So showing that this is something entirely, like I get nipple chills just thinking about that.
That's next script going.
But just like that idea of like, are they a threat? Are they not a threat? So exploring from their perspective, non-mutants, putting you in that shoes and that perspective. So you do have some like villainous mutants, and then you have some hero mutants that pop up in here, and you're dealing with that spectrum. But then that's always lent itself to the problem of, but where have they been this whole time? Because some mutants are hundreds of years old. Some of them have been around for such a long time. And then we just formed the X-Men right then and there. So I do think that kind of combining some of these theories would help. Maybe theory number one that Eric Voss is talking about, the mutants have already sort of existed, combining like theories like 3 and 4 where the snap maybe gave birth to more of them, or that the crossing of the universes, like what they're talking about with theory number 4 with Multiverse of Madness, having that give rise to like the cellular regeneration, you know, whatever the hell they talk about with mutants.
The X gene.
Yeah, things like that. I don't think they'll ever go with like the kind of idea I have. I just thought it would be smart, instead of introducing the X-Men right away, I always thought it would be smarter to introduce the mutants first in a movie. Then you could start introducing your X-Men characters. And based off of how the MCU has sort of been forming, how they had time travel get involved, and now they're going to be opening up the multiverse of madness. They did explore alternate timelines already. I feel like theories 3 and 4 are the things I've already personally been leaning on with how do you properly introduce the idea of mutants and X-Men and all that into the current existing MCU, because you got to realize that changes everything. It really changes everything once you have them in here. You know, there's a show, My Hero Academia, where 80% of the world pretty much has superpowers. 80% of the world has quirks. If you introduce the mutants, that creates a whole new political landscape now, because the mutant world of X-Men creates the whole racism dichotomy, those political debates. So your whole world would change, where you don't just have humans and superheroes, now you have humans, superheroes, and mutants. So your whole Marvel universe is gonna have to shift around. So what I'm more likely to lean towards is theory number 4 out of everything he's talking about. And now my 4 minutes are up. John, make it fast.
That's a pretty good theory. Okay, we're done. Yeah. Whatever they do, I just want them to do something that feels like it's gonna take a little bit of its time. The only thing that makes me wary about the, alternate timeline crashing into this timeline, or a two-formed, alternate universe being opened into this one, is just that, I don't want to see the X-Men just show up in full formation, especially because as much as I do like the idea that they've been around in secret, or maybe, acting on the sidelines to try and prevent disasters from getting bigger and more out of hand, I do feel like they have to have maintained some level of secrecy, because there's also the idea that I think we already have political debates in the movies about what those heroes are doing, and also those heroes never talk about and or reference mutants. So it makes me wonder if going back, the world would truly feel like it had all these, other characters in it.
Yeah.
Aside from those couple Easter egg lines he pointed out, doesn't really hint at that. So for me, I would kind of want it to be something new, and I feel like the snap theory, or especially the idea of coming out of WandaVision, I think that would be pretty smart, because Doctor Strange 2 already has hype, and generally there's going to be crossover with that in WandaVision anyway. But WandaVision, I'm sure that if they introduce the X-Men universe somehow through there, that would be a huge reason for people just to keep tuning into Disney Plus, but also an interesting way to marry the TV back together, because the thing is, I've been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and that show and the tone and the way it handles a lot of things is very suited to mutants, and there are things in that show where I'm like, yeah, it's basically like watching a mutant story. I think it might be nice if they existed on a slightly different scale than the, huge, main flagship hero movies. But yeah, I think that something sci-fi and a little world bending or reality bending is probably the way. That would be my guess, yeah.
I just think it would be pretty neat, though, if, how, generally speaking, when you go into an X-Men comic or the show or the first movies, the world already exists with mutants, and there's already this debate happening with should they exist, should they have equal rights, and yada yada yada. And I think it would be cool if you did do a movie where the mutants maybe have existed for a while. Now they're coming to the surface, so you could watch the origin of that happening. They're coming out into the public light, and then governments getting involved, because if even if you watch like the X-Men movies, there's a time before where not everyone was aware of them. They're in a time of like television media already existing and all that. They didn't know about them, and then eventually the world started to learn about who the mutants are. So I think you still can introduce it. I guess my concern is that based off of like the X-Men universe, there's a huge universe within just the X-Men universe, that you would have to toy with one too many origins and kind of not honor the comics of a lot of the characters. You have that debate of like with the Sokovia Accords, should we have heroes or not? And now that the world is loving heroes, because after the snap and saving the world, yada yada yada, now you can have a whole different thing to explore here instead of a new big baddie. You have this to really mess with the world. I think you can kind of fuse both, where you have this multiverse of madness, maybe the quantum realm. Like, I think all of it could actually fuse into one crazy ass movie that gives birth to this new kind of world, because maybe there have been some mutants and now there's a lot of mutants.
Maybe it's spreading.
Yeah, because that could lend itself to the idea of like virus, like the way how people have perceived mutants to be this disease. I think there's so many thematic elements you could hone in on with my idea, which is borrowing all of these theories.
Just as a last stray point, I think it would actually be really cool if Rogue was a significant part of Captain Marvel 2.
Sure,
like that whole that just bringing up that plot line really intrigued me.
Last thing I'll say is I never for 1 second believed any of this Henry Cavill bullshit. I never didn't even want to do a video about it, because I'm like, there's no like, come on, there's no way. What theory are you most likely leaning into? Leave your thoughts down below. Subscribe to The Real Rejects. Subscribe to New Rockstars. Click our notification bell to get notified when we got our new video up. Last but not least, Patron of the Day show! Yellow dollar bill sign. Logan Ledoux. Wrote you a poem. You pledged at the end of February, but we gotta make it up to you right now, so I wrote you something special. We have a new patron. His name is Logan. The Real Rejects page he has chosen. Claims he has a build like The Rock. Well, if that's the case, one day I'll be sucking his yellow dollar bill sign. Okay, that was a little extreme, but frankly, Logan got me being all crazy like Charlie Sheen, sniff my pheromones, cause you're my Wolverine. Get it? Because of the video we just covered. What's that aroma? It's the scent of a man from Minnesota. Most certainly has a mysterious persona. I'll drink your milkshake like a tasty Coca-Cola. Mel doesn't like the Jews. You sneeze and say achoo. They say do the do. I say one day I'll do you, Mr. Logan Ledoux. Rhymes. Patron of the day shout out. Good work, John.